Hello and welcome to our very vibrant, very exciting, very opinionated show, In Our Humble Opinion.
Ayo! Here we go again.
Here we go again. And I have with me my kakis, my friends, my opinionated friends, Chris here on this side and Gilbert. And so, what do we have today for you? First of all, we have stories about moral dilemmas. If you were put in a position where you could cheat, would you cheat or not cheat? The other story is about actually getting cheated. And the third story is about sometimes in life when all is not right and you feel cheated. So, it's going to be a lot of stories where you have to decide what you would or not do, what you would or would not do when faced with those circumstances, right? So first of all, we are going to be starting with the if you were in a position where you could cheat, would you cheat or not? And so we have the story here of national marathoner he shared with us in a Facebook post that he was out walking and he stumbled across a cheque which was folded and lying on the street. Well, lucky he saw it. He picked it up. He found out it was a cheque. It was a bearer cheque. There's the dilemma. What would you do? Would you use that cheque or not use that cheque? But no, he decided that he's going to do the right thing. He contacted the local town council, found out the owner of the cheque, and he realized it was none other than the owner of 1A Crispy Puffs, Mr. Ao Soon Poo. So he did contact him. He went through everything necessary, gave that check back, and as a result, he got 2 boxes of curry puffs delivered to his residence. Now, all I want to start with is by saying that it is so heartening to finally hear good news on the media, because most of the time the media is infested with bad news. And so when it is a matter of ethics, when it is a matter of should I do the right thing or not? Well, actually, I want to say something. It's not about just doing the right thing first and last. He could have looked at it, realized that, okay, it's not mine. He could have torn it. He could have thrown it away. But no, what he did was he went through the whole process of making sure that the check reached the correct hands. And that is what is so heartening. And so, as General Schwarzkopf would say, the truth of the matter is that you always know the right thing to do. The hard part is doing it. Mm-hmm. And in this case, our national marathoner, So Rui Yong, he actually did it. And so we're starting on a very heartening, very good news, feel-good story. And I'm going to ask my kakis whether they think Mr. So Rui Yong did the correct thing or not. Chris, $30,000 cash check. What would you have done if you found that while you were lifting your weights at the gym?
What's that got to do with lifting weights in the gym? Really? And then, of course, this kind of difficult questions. The first fella can I arrow has to be me.
But then you sit on my right side and Gabriel sat on the right.
You're not left-handed, are you? Okay. No. Well, of course, I am heartened to have read this about what Ryong did, and especially more so in what he said at the end, when Asia One spoke with him, and he said that he shared the story because he felt that in these uncertain times, it's important to try to look out for one another a little more. Mm-hmm. I mean, that spirit is amazing, especially National Day coming soon, and this we need to have a pledge of unity, and reading what he said, that one caught me the most, besides, of course, some of the funny things that, some of the funny comments that came in on his post. A lot of people praised him, and because it's a marathon, and someone said, question is, how many marathons do you need to run off those calories? Oh, wow, a lot to burn after eating all that, Ups lah, but I need more running to burn all the curry puff away after consumption, ha ha ha. But, kudos to this guy, because if you see a check of 30 grand, right, it's a decent sum of money. But if you think about it, I mean, this Mr. Ao from A1 Curry Puffs, the boss, or I beg your pardon, 1A Curry Puffs, Mr. Ao Soon Poo, they said that he was visibly very relieved. Now, being in the F&B business, and we all know how badly hit most of them are, to lose a check of $30,000 is a big deal in these times. And it just so happens belongs to a guy who runs this business. It's just F&B place, right? Our business. And I can just imagine it could maybe those monies could have been maybe meant for wages for his staff. It could be meant to pay off suppliers, So, or it could just be his takings, which is a lot of hard work, right? I mean, preparing all these things, the ingredients and curry puffs, is not easy work. And I'm pretty glad that this what's his name again? Rui-Yong?
Rui-Yong.
Yeah, sorry, because I'm so bad at Chinese names. My fault, okay? Excuse me. So that he actually returned the check. I think that's brilliant.
But Chris, I just again
I would
playing
have
the
by the
devil's
way.
playing the devil's advocate. I'm just assuming that you'd be a real fool in Singapore not to actually return that check, because you would be found out real quick. I mean, and your ass would be in jail. But that's not the point. The point is that all of us work with our own code of ethics. And most people, I've noticed, most people will always do the right thing. And that's what's heartening about the story. Don't you think so, Gilbert?
Yeah, I think it's wonderful that this guy returned it. I'm just surprised, first of all, that he picked it up in the first place, because generally I'm walking around and I see a piece of paper on the ground, I tend to, ignore it, right? I mean, much less pick it up and open it and look at it, because, that's one thing there. I'm also curious as to why someone would be having a check for $30,000 as a cashier's check, because, that's very easily cashed out and that's dangerous as well. So in general, kind of avoid that. But there have actually been other instances where Singaporeans did find money and returned it, which I think is very good. And it's something about our country as well, and the people, which is great, the innate honesty there. And I've read overseas people writing about this, saying that in Singapore I've actually seen people choke tables
with their handbags.
with their bags and stuff like that. And
Yes.
people, those of us that have lived in the US, for example, find that this is insane. But it's good. It's a good thing about our country.
Absolutely. In fact, when you mentioned this, I remember moving on to the next story, actually. Because I used to produce Crime Watch at one stage, and we used to have stories where Singaporeans would be maybe talking on the phone, absolutely unaware that anybody is around. They're totally occupied
Oblivious.
with their conversation. And there was a time when there will be a couple of people on a bike. They just come in, just snatch your phone, and they just ride off.
Yeah.
Whether they go over the border or basically because they realize that we just don't have that instinct where we're looking around for any kind of crime to take place.
Exactly.
Because within we are safe, we are secure.
Yeah.
And again, bringing back to National Day, it's such a wonderful thing.
It's a little
to
bit of
think
a
about
cocoon that we're in actually here. My overseas friends who have come, for example, notice things that I don't notice. Me having been here this long is, for example, in the shopping centers in the evening when they you're walking through the atrium and you see those displays in the atrium, they're just roped off and covered with a cloth, and they're still there. All the goods are still there. And they're like, how can this be? In the US, it would be gone already. It'd be crazy. And the other day I was walking by this soybean stall that's Jolly Bean or one of those there. And I noticed that they have a fridge out there that's stocked full with the soybean curd and all of that that's left there overnight. And, that's it. The fridge is there. It's not locked. And immediately my friend from overseas was looking at this like, how can this be in Singapore?
Was this in a mall or?
This was outside on the road. There's one right by Lido facing Shaw Centre,
Right.
And it's right there, so it's in a footpath basically.
So it's an open fridge.
It's an open fridge.
Really?
But it's
So hopefully people who are listening to this are not going to go there.
no. But this is the part that you find which is so endearing, and that you feel so proud that we've been brought up in the correct way, that there's the fridge. it's okay. I'm not going to take it free of charge.
Yeah, yes, of course. Well, that's one way of I think that's the right way. Of course,
That's the right.
some cynics would
But-
say it's because we have so many security cameras all over
Yeah,
Singapore.
Yeah.
No, this cynic was about to say that. This cynic was about to say that. Although, to be fair, I do agree that majority of us do actually, abide by the law, and we do abide by doing things the right way. I mean, there's no disputing
There is,
that.
absolutely.
Ethics is, and our ethics and moral compasses, it's about the spirit of ethics and not a code. A code is written, so this is the spirit of things. However, don't also forget, as one, this is the cynic part, the cynic in me talking, that Singapore is one nation that is filled with cameras everywhere.
Yeah, but this is amazing because I actually looked this up before. Is that London has, I think, twice or three times as
More?
many? Yes, more.
Or as
than
many or
Singapore.
more? More?
Yes.
Okay.
But even during the riots,
2 or 3 times more. That's
But I think
almost
that
double.
happened because of the London bombings.
Could
after
be.
That, after
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Then they-
Having
Yeah.
said that, when the bombings, the riots that took place in the US or where they take place, where you actually see footage of people going into shops, coming out with goods. It's not that they don't know there are cameras looking at them,
Yeah.
and
True.
but it's a different kind of moral code that you have,
Sure.
that even if it's a chop and you've got your handbag, which we shouldn't do, it's not something to encourage, but you'll turn around and the bag will yet be there.
Well,
So, from this heartening, yes, right thing to do, not to cheat, we're going on to another topic, which is
Cheat.
totally, yes, it's about getting cheated. Very, very bad way. Gilbert, would you like to share that story about how the scammer hacks
Yeah.
actor Desmond Tan's Facebook and cheats the fan?
Yes.
And then
Okay, so I had not read about this until we were given the brief today to talk about this, and it really raised a lot of questions. This well-known and good-looking MediaCore artist,
Yes.
Desmond.
I worked with him.
Okay, all right.
Good looking, man.
Very good-looking, even better than you.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. And he's got a Facebook page, and it's a verified Facebook page with a blue tick, so it's not something that someone created to duplicate. And one of his fans who follows this page got a message from him on Facebook Messenger saying hi, hello, whatever it is, and wanting to get to know her and thanking her for being a fan and supporter. Now, she, totally believed it was him, and make a long story short, they developed this quote-unquote cyber friendship, and before long, he asked for money, right? And this poor woman obviously got cheated, and he was very upset. Let me actually go to it and read it carefully, summarize it, okay, because I want to get the details correct here. It is, let's see. Yeah, this 50-year-old woman got this message. The two continued to chat through a messaging app Line and even developed a romantic relationship online as the impersonator continuously flirted with her. And he offered her a trip to Shanghai to meet him and said she only needed to bear 30% of the travel cost, which came to 7,000 ringgit.
Ringgit,
Yeah. She's a Malaysian woman, by the way, and she never got her money back because the travel plans fell through.
I mean,
obviously.
yeah.
And then, so this raised a lot of questions, right? First of all, how could Desmond or his handlers not know that people were sending messages out through their Facebook account? Right?
But wasn't that a
No, it was
fake
hacked.
Facebook account?
No, it's verified. It's the
Really?
actual one. They hacked into it.
Oh.
So it was a fake one that's totally different. It's not, it was hacked. It's the blue verified account.
But I wouldn't blame him or his administrators because, I mean, if someone hacked in, maybe,
But
to
if
the
someone
point.
hacks in,
How does
you
that
can
work?
still
Yeah.
see.
Can we?
Yeah, because the way that Facebook Messenger works is that if you get a message or someone sends a message, it will appear on your message history. You see, and I think the what happened is that they just didn't check. They just probably because they get so many messages, they just did not check because those people who have got public profiles and they've got a blue check, they probably get a lot of messages from fans, right? So you're talking about maybe a few hundred a day to a few thousand a day. and they don't check it. So that's my guess at that.
Okay,
You
I
know?
didn't realize.
So
this.
basically, when someone hacks into your account, it basically means that they have your password. They've taken over.
Taken over.
So
yeah.
then they can send messages that way. So this woman got messages from the verified account, you see. It's not a fake account. That's the thing which jumped
So,
up at me.
yes. Oh, so that was what actually
So that's why she
made her
felt
believe.
exactly, you know.
So I mean, that's the reason why I didn't reply Anne Hathaway when she messaged me.
But well done.
And I was asking myself for like 2 nights. Oh, should I? Oh, should I? Oh, should I?
Good decision.
And she just messaged
I'm
me.
pretty sure that was not a blue check mark
No,
one.
no, and I'm pretty sure it was Anne. You missed the chance of a lifetime.
Oh, thanks so very much for busting my bubble.
So this strange case, I think for the rest of us and those lovelorn ladies and men out there, when you get this kind of a situation, always be suspicious and cynical, even if it's a blue check mark messaging you. You know, I can imagine how it would be hard to. How easy it would be to be fooled with a blue check mark, because the blue check mark is Facebook's way of telling you this is the verified account. You see,
Correct.
and they don't give this blue check mark to just anyone. You know, many people who have asked for it and tried it and can't get it.
So you have
Yeah.
to
So I think-
be verified
Yes.
to be able to. But
You have
know,
to be verified as a celebrity or a public person first. Then you have to verify your account, with them. There are all of these different steps you have to take just to get that blue check mark. And the reason they came out with the blue check mark is because there were a lot of imposter accounts. So, my good friend and a public figure, Jeremy Montero. Hi, Jeremy. We love you. He's posted this on his Facebook before that he's get so many people impersonating him. And they all have the same tactic. They take his photographs and then they contact his friends and fans, and he always uses this term. So it's not me using this term. He says they're all chikope. They go there and they flirt with these women, say, hello there, my dear, you look very beautiful and everything. And poor Jeremy is then notified of this, and he has to then bring it up and report and everything like that. So he keeps asking for the blue check mark from Facebook. And for some strange reason, Facebook will not give him the blue check mark.
Why?
To their own devices, I have no idea. Honestly, I know people who are far less well known than Jeremy who have got the blue check mark. So how Facebook works and how Mark Zuckerberg and his team works, I don't know. But that blue check mark is supposed to be the way you really verify that this person is the one, the account is the correct one,
Okay.
So like your Anne Hathaway and whatever it is, must have the blue check mark.
she
Okay.
didn't.
So
The one that you got, did she have the
I don't know. I
check mark?
gotta go and check again, but I think I
I think
deleted
he
the damn
went
message.
and took the blue pen and put it next on his screen.
But when what you're talking about, what hits me is that in 2013 there were 81 cases of love scams which were reported, and by 2019 the reported cases have gone up to nearly 690.
But I need to tell
And
you
these
something.
are just the reported ones, you see.
In Singapore.
In
Sing-
Singapore, you
Okay.
can. So you can see the surge. And what I'm trying to say is these scams are not going to go away.
Yes.
And what is amazing is that they go through, these people who do the scams, they go through such lengths
Yes,
to
yes.
understand the victim, seduce the victim,
And I'm
get
sure
them into a
they're
web
all
of deceit.
middle-aged and older.
And I really need to share this with you because because of so many of these scams happening, we were asked to do one of these segments in Crime Watch. And again, you can see it was about a woman and how she was scammed on Tinder. And then they follow the same route, you see, where slowly I'm falling in love with you and can you help
exactly,
me?
yes.
But the question here is that the woman, maybe somewhere in your mind, you know that this could possibly be a scam. And that is what makes you feel so sad.
Yeah.
That
And
you get taken in
it's-
slowly and, like a
and
web
definitely. And
of
it's
deceit.
important to state that it's not just women who fall for this, men as well, lovelorn men, And, the younger generation, they have a lot of different ways to meet each other. I think it's the older people who go online and fall for these things in general.
You see, this one she was 50 years old.
Yes, exactly.
And she's thinking Desmond Tan really likes.
Yeah, who's like...
I just want to tell Daisy this. Daisy, if you ever receive any flirty messages from me, it wasn't me.
It wasn't you?
It wasn't me. No, it wasn't me.
That is so sad.
So yeah, just remember that. I
Chris-
wouldn't do such a
Chris-
thing.
No, why?
Please.
You don't think I'm attractive enough to
Hey,
flirt with?
enough nonsense here.
Okay.
No, but wait,
Delete your Tinder first of all. You shouldn't be having it.
What's
and
Tinder?
you too.
I don't have Tinder.
Oh, okay. How is
I'm
he
talking
flirting with
about
you
this.
then?
He hasn't
I
started.
don't know, that's what I'm saying. If you ever receive a flirty message and it
It's
seems to
not
come
him.
from me,
Okay.
it wasn't me.
Okay, in this
No,
case,
but tell
this
me
was
about
Facebook.
No, tell me about. Sorry to interrupt, but tell me about the men you were talking about. Where, how, is there a different modus operandi than
No,
this?
it's online. It's online through different forms, not through Tinder. I don't think the
Well,
older
I think,
generation
I think
uses
it's actually, it's normally the older guys
Yes.
who get into these sort of scams with, and that's why you go to the neighborhoods, they have, I think the cops put them up. I think so. I see posters and billboards.
Yes. It's enough of a problem that the
Yeah.
police put up posters about it,
Yes,
warning
that-
people about
yeah,
cyber
yeah. She's not
scams.
going to give you sex,
Yes,
and
yes,
that
that's
kind
right.
of stuff, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
you know-
it's not just women. In fact, a lot of people who fall for this are older men,
Yeah.
basically.
That-
Overseas brides.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But you see, there are different kinds. One, you're looking at women, at least the scams that we were looking at during the Crime Watch time, was there are women who are, PMEBs, some of them. And for whatever reason, maybe a divorce or whatever reason, they're lonely at that particular time. And the person who comes on to do the scam, and that's what I'm saying is so fascinating because they work on you psychologically. So then you become a lawyer based on whom you're scamming, the
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
language you use, the kind of endearments you use to slowly.
Interesting.
And after the whole scam took place, in this case, unfortunately, the woman lost over close to $500,000 before she had the gumption to actually go and report it.
Well, I
because
I have a true story I need to tell you guys.
No.
We're talking. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry,
finish yours.
just
finish
as
yours.
a woman, I want to just say that you see, you're lonely. You find somebody, or you think you found somebody. You realize you've been duped of your money, and then the worst part is to actually openly go and make a report, and to
Yes, the
feel
humiliation
like
of that,
such a
of course.
fool,
And I'm sure there are many
and
who don't do
that's
the report because they're too embarrassed.
Yeah, and
But
that's why
Chris-
they say these reported cases.
You know
Yes.
the
Yeah.
hacks, right? I have a friend who was called by the cops to go down to the station, and because there was a hack that was apparently done and tracked to her IP address, her router, right at home, and some people have been using her router to troll and send out hate stuff to other people,
yeah.
right? And then they when they spoke to her, then they tracked it, and apparently they said, no, we know it's not you. We just want to confirm that this is your router, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. And it actually came from some I can't remember where, a real far off country.
Oh,
Right.
so it's not her neighbor hacking.
Yeah, it's like Eastern
with
Europe
no
somewhere.
password or something.
No, no, it's got password. She's got,
Ah.
of course, it's like our routers at home.
Yeah,
we have
yeah,
a password
yeah,
protect,
yeah.
right? So they managed to hack into a router and got into the social feeds using her,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
And what's remarkable, mate? I
Yeah.
mean, the things people go, the shenanigans people are up to.
So-
They are predators.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're preying on the human vulnerabilities. So it's like, I know you want love, I do that. I know I want to
Yeah,
spoil
so
your name, I go.
cybersecurity is something to be considered.
Yeah.
And this whole issue actually raises a thought. It's like maybe someone like the government, could set up an agency where people can meet each
It's
other.
going to
older people, because obviously there's a
No,
need
but
for
they've
it.
always had that, right?
No,
No,
cyber-
that one was the social development unit,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
horrifying. And yeah, but anyway, sorry, social development unit, if you're still around.
I think they are, no? Now you need it for older
No, it's
citizens.
not called SDU anymore.
Oh, it's-
You remember the joke SDU stood for Single, Ugly and Desperate? Or Singapore Desperate and Ugly?
Oh, God, how am I missing out on all these jokes?
I was living in the US at that time, so I wasn't part of this, but this is what all my Singapore friends are telling me. It's like, the Single, Desperate and Ugly unit called me up and asked me why I haven't gone on any dates with what they've set
really?
up. Yeah. So I don't need that kind of, unit, but it is a possibility because obviously there are people in
what
need
we're
of
saying-
love.
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
Do you
and-
think the government could set up something?
Well, the reason I mentioned the government is because then it would be free and people would more likely do it. And it only works if a lot of people are part of it. If you join something and it's, 10 women trying to meet 4 men or vice versa, it doesn't work. But if it's free, a lot of people could be part of it. But if it's a government agency, again, it has certain problems.
Correct.
How's the
Because you see,
But in the
But
US, Gilbert, tell us, I know there's this thing called speed dating in the US. I don't know, but
Yeah.
we have it here in Singapore.
They're all private companies, and you have to pay to do it, and people do. You know, I know in Singapore there are commercial matchmaking agencies.
Yes,
You know,
yes,
there are
yes.
even same-sex ones now that come up.
Skills development you use your skills development fund lah.
No, cannot.
Skills
A lot of
future.
people there. Skills
Skills
future. Yeah,
future
sorry.
to
Skills
find a
future.
future mate.
Yeah. Then you know, I mean, maybe the government can allow it, you know, and pay to these matchmaking companies using your skills future fund.
And you know what's going to be next? People are going to demand they can use CPF then to pay for this
yeah,
kind of
yeah. No,
use
no.
CPF pay for dates so I can get married.
Oh gosh, I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah.
Man.
No, but this is obviously an issue because as Daisy pointed out, it's not the first time it's happened. There are enough, and as Chris pointed out, there are even posters,
Yeah.
police
Yeah.
posters warning
Yeah.
people about this.
And the thing is that it could be anywhere. They could be scamming people, like you said, from El Salvador, from Nigeria. You remember that whole, there was a scam about getting an email which said there is an account and your name is on that account and the money has been willed to you.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you send your account number,
Yeah,
we, the
yeah.
law firm, Mr. and Mrs.
Yes,
blah,
yes,
blah, blah,
correct, yeah.
can put the money into an account. And the number of people who fall for it also goes to show that there's a lot of greed, right?
Yeah. So
It's
if
like
you
free
actually,
money, come on,
yeah,
give it
exactly.
to me.
So, but that one is on the low end of the cyber crimes, meaning it's a very unsophisticated, and they basically just, as the Malays say, hantam buta, you know, you short account
But
approach.
hantam, they make a lot
Yes,
of money
exactly.
on hantam.
Yeah, if you send out, you know, 1 million emails, maybe, you know, you can get 100 people responding, and that's good enough. But the more sophisticated ones, like this one, where they actually hacked into a verified account, is a bit more worrisome. And, you know,
Yes,
that,
agreed.
that's
I watched
interesting.
something on Netflix about this, you know, and it was a documentary. Oh, for the life of me, I cannot remember the title. I'm sorry, but it was a documentary, and they were let in India into this big office space with tons of people working.
Yes.
And
I
these
saw that
are
too.
all
Yes.
hackers, you know.
That's right, yes.
Right, and they're
Yes.
all scamming people, and
Yes.
it made it look like a legit business.
And a British counter hacker hacked into that hacker's
Oh, they did? They did?
Yes,
Yeah. Okay,
computer
okay.
system, took over and were able to use their own closed circuit cameras in
And
there
film them.
and film them
Yeah, for
and
the
presented
show,
it.
yeah.
Yes, so that was
So
brilliant.
life is becoming, I mean, real life is so much drama going on that
Yeah.
Netflix has got
It's-
a lot of content they can
But
Yeah.
you
So
know,
it's
I wish
really-
life was a lot easier, simpler. You know what I mean is simpler.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's more
And that's-
complicated.
And you know, and Chris, when you talk about this simpler, we look at our next story, which
Yeah.
is about pressure, what the young are going through, and that the number of suicides among those in their 20s is right now highest in Singapore. And we are looking at, you know, young people, how they are, you know, the youth of today, they have so much pressure. I mean, whether it's living up to lifestyles that they need to conform to, where they know failure is not an option, bullying, prejudice in the social media. I mean, you can just go on and on. I'm just thinking, it's a massive tragedy.
Let's put this in context here. I just want to read this here. It says
Yes,
a total of
yes.
71 people between 20 and 29 killed themselves in 2019.
Correct.
And this accounts for a third of all reported deaths in this age group, which is really high. You know, this is a very
Those-
shocking and high number.
That those
Yeah.
who revealed their ages were between 20 and 29 years
Yeah.
old, so really young. And most of the topics, the suicide attempts, the suicides were because of romantic relationships or difficulties coping with one's mental health,
Yeah.
the struggles and managing
So
these
you know, this is
situations.
obviously we've talked about this before when we did a previous show about
Yes,
about
we've
suicide.
talked about
Yeah, with
and
Jenny was with
with
us.
Jenny,
Jenny was
yeah,
with
you
us,
know,
yes.
and this is such a big topic, and there's so much that we can say. But I think that at least in the way that I understand it, the way I see it, is that we need to differentiate perhaps between people who are clinically depressed and have got clinical depression, and then there are people who are facing a one-time problem in their lives, such as a romantic issue. And it seems like the big subject for a lot of people who call SOS, the Samaritans of Singapore,
Samaritans.
is the romantic relationships. And I think, first of all, when you're a teenager, obviously, you know, your hormones and affecting your mind. That's a scientific fact. You know, your brain is still developing. It's affecting your mind. I would hope that these young people, who might be listening, would realize that it's a difficult time, but things will get better.
Right. Right.
If I may, I've
Yeah.
encountered just this morning.
Oh,
Oh.
I don't. I've been sitting here contemplating whether or not I should mention.
you're not in this age group, Chris.
No, not me. I encountered someone this
Oh
morning.
dear.
dear.
Share,
With an
share with
issue.
us. Yeah.
And that's why I was saying that I've been sitting here contemplating whether or not I should talk about it, because the show is on. We're being recorded, right?
Yeah.
But of course I won't mention names.
Yeah,
But
okay,
I think
keep
it's
it
good to share
private.
it because this problem is as fresh as last night. Because an incident occurred to a friend, and it involves his teenage son. And the history goes a little way back, actually. Apparently, when he was in secondary school, from the very first week in that secondary school, when he was in secondary one, the kid's about 17, 18 today. Yeah. He was bullied terribly, and I'm talking about violently, physically bullied. And every single day, till the point where he developed a psychological disorder. I'm not going to say too much because I don't
of course.
want
Yes,
anyone to go and speculate who he is. Yeah. And the dad's really good. I mean, he wrote to every time an incident occurs, brings him to the police and lodges a report, and it happens like so frequently that the cops remember him. Because every time something happens, he goes to the cops and then lodges a report. Talk to the school about it and say, okay, we send for counseling. Oh, okay, we send for counseling. Oh, okay, until he couldn't take it anymore.
Wow.
And he wrote into, I'm not going to mention again, to the ministry, and he wrote to someone quite higher up, okay, but below the minister. Yeah, okay. And then, fortunately, that person shot an email over to the school. And the school, everybody jumped to it.
Right.
But does it really need
That's so
Yeah,
sad.
Yes,
does it
exactly.
really need, you know?
Yes.
Exactly.
And then after...
And not everyone will have that kind of access to
Yes,
get.
and as you rightly said, when you are a teen, your hormones are off balance.
Yeah.
Your frontal lobe is probably not fully developed,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And life is very confusing, and that's something we all have been through.
Yeah. Even without the bullying, it's tough
Exactly,
enough.
it's tough enough, and
Yeah.
and then it impacts your studies,
Yeah.
right? You don't want to wake up in the morning, then depression sets in because you don't want to wake up in the morning. It's one clear-cut sign,
Yeah.
one start. That's
Yep.
a start point. Yeah?
Yep.
And then as the kid got older, this is the same story, same person, started to like girls, and there's this particular girl he likes. Yeah. I'm not going to go into the story deeply and tell the details about that, but long story cut short, his heart was broken, and he disappeared from the house, and his folks had to go find him. And then the dad found him and had a good, nice, heart-to-heart,
Talk.
man-to-man chat. But it's very hard for mature adults to even sometimes do your best to relate to your teenage kid, right? And let alone have, this kid already has a sort of a psychological disorder because of the bullying that occurred in his early years, in his early teenage life. So anyway, thank goodness for Jenny that we've met her. I've handed the dad her number,
Okay.
and I hope Jenny can help.
So I'd like to just add on a very on an upbeat note that usually with SOS, of course, there are numbers, Samaritans of Singapore, that you can always call,
Sure.
you can reach out. But what is interesting now is that SOS has announced the launch of a text-based hotline service
Yeah.
for those who prefer not to speak.
I
on
think
the
that's
phone.
wonderful.
That's a good move.
And especially when you are going through the trauma as a
Yeah.
young person, you just don't have the voice.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody on the other end picks up the phone in SOS and says hello,
Yes.
most of the time
It's
you don't
an
even know whether
impediment.
you want to
Yeah,
open your
exactly.
mouth, and you just put the phone
It's a much
down.
more passive way to be able to ask
Reach
for help
out.
by
Yes, yes,
texting,
yes.
which
So
I think is so important.
I think we should do a service, the three of us here, if you guys can agree. I think you will. For any one of you young people out there, right? All the young people, if you feel that you need someone to talk to, you can SOS Care Tags, and you can do that via the SOS website, which
Yes.
is hang on a sec. Well, you can find the SOS website.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And
Or the 24-hour hotline at 1-800-221-4444.
yeah.
Or you can email Pat, as in PAT, at sos.org.sg.
Yeah, the SOS website is sos.org.sg. So
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
There you go.
can I move on to a wonderful, again, upbeat story? All right. And that's what I'd like to really end with the whole the talk that
This
we
is
had
funny,
today,
man. Yeah.
because this is really wonderful. That US actor Jason Gordon-Levitt, he shared a photo of a Singaporean lady dancing in the rain, okay, and he was asking for one sentence stories, asking people to write in. But the photo of this lady,
Amanda
was,
Ho, yeah.
Amanda Ho, with her umbrella and her pink bag and her colorful striped dress, was, it was raining and she was just barefoot and she was playing in the puddle, in the water. And what was so wonderful is when you look at the photograph, it's happy and carefree. And you know what? I started going back down memory lane, and I'm thinking, during our childhood, in the olden days, we ran in the puddles, we danced in the rain. I mean, nature gave us the opportunity to express ourselves. Now, you can't climb a tree. Maybe you can just hug a tree. And no parents allow their children to get wet in the rain. They will take you to Bugis Junction and they say, okay, the fountain is here. Now you get wet there because you're authorized to dance in the puddle. Did you all see this picture? And
I
was
just
so
saw
much
it.
fun.
Yeah, I thought it was a great photo. I'm surprised that George Gordon-Levitt somehow saw it there. I have to say though that the captions from Singaporeans are just lame. They keep repeating the same old thing about ponding and stuff like that. It's like, come on, guys, you can do better than that. But about the whole childhood thing. It's a different world now. So,
Yes, I mean,
and we're more aware perhaps of the dangers that lurk when you go out barefooted in the rain. And
but you know what we used to do? I remember there's a longkang next to our place, and then it's raining, and we used to go with the kids. I mean, my husband, me, and my kids, and then little piece of wood or something that you put in the longkang,
Yeah.
and then because of the rain, the longkang is really full, and the little piece of wood just keeps bopping down, and then the kids are like running as though, and now I think maybe it was a blessing in disguise, because they are so much more tougher, and one little shower or getting wet doesn't, oh my God, they're going to get fever now, and we don't go through all that. Not that I'm recommending the parents should be doing that,
Yeah.
but they were just different days where it didn't matter,
Yeah.
to get wet, and
Yeah.
it was so much fun.
I mean, my wife and I, we relived that when we were in, where were we? We were in Canterbury, in the county of Kent in England. And they have this wonderful place called Tankerton Slopes. It's just really not steep, but kind of steep, but still manageable. It's one of the national heritage areas.
Site, right.
Yeah, and they've got those colorful little beach huts along the coast. And it was autumn, nice weather, and all we did was we just laid down on that slope, and the grass, and it was nice and clean and dewy and all that kind of stuff. And it was just wonderful. It's the things like this that we don't get a chance to really do here. Walking on grass, walking on wet, nice, cool, grass, playing in little puddles like that. And we used to do stuff like that.
Exactly.
It was so wonderful.
Yes.
Right.
But Chris, what surprises me is that
And we were reliving that. We were like, the two of us were like kids again. Yeah.
No, but I'm thinking that just a picture of somebody in a puddle getting so many hits, it's because, it's being noticed because we've just stopped being a little bit crazy. I mean, a picture like this has to be noticed We did it all the time.
Yeah, well, I think adults can still go out and do things like that if they want to. I think for kids, it's good if parents bring them to parks and out to experience nature again.
Yes.
You know.
And we can become kids too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wet and you play in the puddles. So if there was snow here, oh my God, I would make a snowman.
I mean, speaking of, this is because this topic you're talking about is having the freedom of a child.
Yes.
Right. And when I know, you know what? Last year, at 49 in December, we went on holiday, and it was for almost a month, right? And we were in Scandinavia. You know why? Because the missus and myself, my kid, of course, never seen snow.
Oh yes.
And you should have seen us, man.
Yeah.
We went up to the top of a mountain in Norway. It's a place called Bergen, and there's this wonderful cable car ride to the top of this mountain.
Yes.
And when we were approaching up the mountain, it started to hail, right? And it's a bit, scary.
Yeah.
Then it started to snow, and then it started to snow like mad. I said, wow, that's snow. And then when we got off the top at the cable car station, there's a small little door, right? And we both looked at each other, my wife and I and my kid. Okay, ready? Open the door, got out. Wow! And it was heavy snow, heavily snowing. And we were just lying in the snow, doing snow angels and laughing like kids. And we were laughing for a good hour.
And those memories are just... Tell us one of your I'm going to be a kid again memories, Gilbert.
Well, I like to keep clean, so I don't usually go and play in the rain and stuff like that. But snow,
we won't have a puddle picture
but I'll tell you about snow. Basically,
Gilbert.
is that if you're in that kind of a situation, it's wonderful because snow is clean. But if you live in a city where I live, for example, in New York,
okay,
snow is fine for the first 10 minutes, and then after that it turns into black ice. It is disgusting because then, like they say, when you see yellow ice, you walk around it.
Okay.
Especially the homeless people there.
But, okay. Take a moment, go away from the sludge, go away from the city, go somewhere in those beautiful
Okay,
meadows.
I'll share a wonderful childhood memory I have about the rain.
Yes.
But this isn't just about me, it's about my sister as well. Because, when she was younger, there was this situation where I had read that in a beauty magazine that if you wash your hair in the rain, you will make your hair very soft.
Oh.
And my sister has this very frizzy, dry hair, and she was also complaining about it. And she was maybe about 10 years old at that time. So one day she came back from school and it was heavy rain at our house, outside our house. And I stopped her and I said, wait. You take the shampoo bottle and you wash your hair right now in the rain. It will make your hair very soft. So she's there in her school uniform, CHIJ. And she says, really? Yeah. And my mom was out at that time and I gave her a bottle of shampoo. And I still have photos from this I'll bring to show you guys. And she's shampooing her hair because we have a big, what they call the tempayan, which is the carrying the water.
Yes,
And she's washing her hair with her uniform soaked in the pouring rain, in my garden. And then my mom comes back home in the car, and I remember my mom's face as she sees my sister standing in the garden shampooing her.
Oh, that's fabulous. Well, so the moral of the story here is there's power in looking silly and not caring what you do. And that's got power.
And that's the innocence of childhood. You tell somebody that and they'll just do it. And that's the beauty about children also. And I think parents really should nurture that and don't kill it too quickly.
Wonderful.
How did this whole thing end up? I mean, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's an American actor, right?
Yeah. He was Robin.
Correct. Yeah. And not in the Dark Knight Rises, right?
That's right.
And he and his brother started this. It's how this picture came about. This thing called Hit Record in 2004, and it's an open platform that encourages people to be creative, to collaborate in creating photo poems. So he spotted her picture, and that was just behind Elias Mall near Pasir Ris, where she was playing the puddle, right? And some people from Singapore, and of course I think in the US as well, started writing poems to fit this. And I found this one, which I thought was really, really nice.
Okay. So Chris, share the poem and we can end on that lovely poetic note.
This guy, Derek Koger, if I hope I pronounce his name right, he wrote, life, despite all of its foibles of twisted, capricious fate and dark turns of passing sorrows, was joy to be had, and a wonder to experience as she, tearing off her anxious demeanor, splashed as a child, free of heart, in the cool rain of hope yet to be.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
So,
And the Singaporean wrote Ponding Liao.
no, but yeah, on this wonderful, wonderful note, I'm going to ask my kakis, do you have anything to say? Because we're going to end on this beautiful poem, this feeling that yes, go ahead, look silly, don't care, be free and enjoy every moment because life is too short.
Yes.
Gilbert?
Okay, so to the young people, especially who hopefully are watching, listening to this and watching this, is that life can be difficult sometimes, many times, often, but build resilience. The world is a wonderful place, and no matter what problems you're facing, you can overcome them and you can feel happy again. So I really want you guys to believe this, because we've all gone through this kind of difficulty when we were younger, and we emerged from it. And when we look back, we kind of realize that, wow, I'm so glad I chose to continue going on. And please do keep that in mind. It's very worth it to go on, and life can be wonderful.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Chris?
This is National Day season. I really like, again, I said it earlier, about what Riyong said, and I just want to echo it one more time. I mean, the GE is over. We're all Singaporeans. This is the moment to celebrate Singapore as Singaporeans, regardless of who we support or don't support politically. But this is our country.
Yes.
And we are all the same people of this country. So, every little bit of help that we can give as people to each other counts.
Yes.
Because we are in uncertain times. We are living in a period in history that is going to test us.
Yeah.
So we need to look out for one another.
Absolutely.
So I just want to leave this episode on that note.
Well, thank you. What I want to say is, on the 1st of August, it was Nurses' Day. So we want to thank the nurses as well as we move on to National Day. Every day, every moment is a treasure. So please, everybody out there, when you're listening to our show, this is just a gentle reminder that enjoy that every moment that you have. Live life fully, fruitfully, and happy National Day. Okay?
Yes.
Happy
Thank you.
National Day, everybody.
Thank you. Yeah, and keep listening to us wherever you can, in our humble opinion.
Happy birthday, Singapore.
Namaste, namaste, namaste.
Australia.